Today we'll change the format a little bit. Since it's Erev Shavuot, we have to speak about Shavuot. So let's take a look where Shavuot is mentioned in the Torah. It's never called Chag Matan Torah, never. If you look at the book of Shemot 23, Pasuk 16, in Parshas Mishpatim, Shemos Chav Gimel, Perik Tezayin, Shemos 23, Pasuk 16. There the Torah calls it Chag HaKatzir. Chag HaKatzir. B'kurei Masecha. Shavuos is not called Chag Matan Torah. It's called Chag HaKatzir. B'kurei Masecha. Shemos 23, Pasuk 16. But you can take my word for it, or otherwise you can look in the book. The question is why it's not called Chag Matan Torah. Why is it called Chag HaKatzir, which means the festival of the harvest. And it's called B'kurei Masecha. The festival of when you bring your first fruits. As far as the Torah is concerned, it's an agricultural festival. Reb Nachum, that's all it is. Why does the Torah cover up the fact that it's Chag Matan Torah? For that you need the oral Torah. Tradition. But the written Torah only says it's Chag HaKatzir. B'kurei. It's the festival of the harvest when you bring your first fruits to the Beit HaMikdash. Says the great Rav Kook, Zecher Tzadik Levracha. Even the non-religious kibbutzim, they celebrate Chag HaKatzir. They celebrate the harvest of Eretz Yisrael, the beautiful crops of Eretz Yisrael. That in itself has Kedusha. And that's why the Torah mentions Chag HaKatzir. That even those Jews that don't study Torah, some Jews, but they work the Holy Land of Israel, they're celebrating the harvest of Israel, that itself has Kedusha.
That's good.
The great Rav Kook. But we still have to understand why the Torah doesn't say it's also Chag Matan Torah. Chag HaKatzir, the festival of the harvest when you bring your first fruits. Now, Chag HaKatzir, who knows Yiddish a little bit here? Yiddish. The festivals are intergeschnitten. Literally, Katzir means cut. The festival that is cut. English says harvest. It's true, because you harvest Chag HaKatzir. It's the festival when you cut the what? The wheat and the grain, as we find in the book of Ruth. But literally, it's called the festival that's cut off. The katzer in Hebrew means what, Sarah? To schneiden, to cut. So the Sprecher asked the kasha, Ma nishtana Chag HaShavuot from the other Chagim? You think you're finished with the Ma nishtana? The other Chagim have 7 days. Pesach has 7 days. Sukkot has 7 days, 8 days. What am I, chopped liver? What am I, a stepchild? Chag Matan Torah, only 1 day? Chag HaKatzir. The Yontif is intergeschnitten. Literally, it means the festival, Shelley, that's cut off. Isn't it a little strange? Chag Matan Torah should be cut off? I could use another 7 days, a holiday. Why is Chag Matan Torah cut? What? Cut off. That's cut to only 1 day. What? You ever wonder about that? Time stands still, but it's one of the big 3 festivals. The other 2 festivals are 7 days. Right? And this one, the Chag Matan Torah, only happens to be 1 day. Madua v'lama. And the Torah alludes to it by calling it Chag HaKatzir. Yisrael Baruch. You never wondered about that?
But I think it refers to the cutting of the grain.
Of the wheat, of course it does.
Yeah,
But the Sprecher says it also the festival that's cut. The question is, why is it cut to 1 day? What am I, chopped liver? I'm not a stepchild. I'm one of the big three. Go ahead.
I'm saying in English, the cutting the thing, they call it reaping, right?
Chag HaKotzir, the festival of reaping. You're right.
So,
The Grim Reaper.
no, but now you said I was thinking we reap another reap rewards for receiving the Torah.
Oh, I like it. Oh, I like it. Reap rewards for what? Okay, but again, we have to understand what's going on over here. What's going on? Says the great Sam Sofer. In the Parsha, it's better to listen because in the Parsha, in Parshas Emor, next to the festival of Shavuot, Rachel, there's the mitzvah of Leket Shikram Peah. In Parshas Emor, I'd be better just to listen. Okay? In Parshas Emor, where the Torah mentions Shavuos, right next to it, it says the mitzvah of Leket Shikram Peah. The agricultural mitzvahs. Why? Why is it next? Seems to be from left field. You're mentioning Chag Shavuot, and next to it, you mention Leket Shikram Peah. So push it is because Leket Shikram Peah, the gleanings of the field, the corner, when does that mitzvah kick in? During the harvest season, not before. Shavuos is the harvest season. So therefore, next to Shavuot in the Torah, Parshas Emor, the Torah gives us the agricultural mitzvot, because those mitzvot to leave the gleanings, the bundles, and the sheaves, and the corners of the field, that kicks in only when you have the harvest season. What is the harvest season? Shavuos time, right? Says the Holy Sam Sofer. Can you imagine? The poor people wait anticipation. All year they eagerly wait for the harvest season, because that's when the mitzvah of Leket Shikram Peah kick in. You're going to keep a festival 7 days. Farmer Goldberg shuts his field for 7 days and goes to a hotel for Shavuos. You'll be breaking the hearts of the poor people. They eagerly await this season to get their Leket Shikram Peah. You're going to have a festival for 7 days. You'll be disappointing the poor people. God says, Chag HaKotzir, I'm going to cut the yontif short. Not to disappoint poor people who eagerly await this season, not to push them off, delay the gifts that's due to poor people. God says that's more important to me than keeping a festival for 7 days. And all the karbonos that are due on the 7-day festival, God says, keep it 1 day, not to break the poor person's heart, who eagerly waits the season. You're going to shut off your field for 7 days and go away to a hotel. We can't allow that. So the Sam Sofer says, that's Chag Matan Torah. Chag Matan Torah is all about doing chesed. That's why you read the book of Ruth on Chag Matan Torah. And therefore, to demonstrate that, the Torah calls it Chag HaKotzir, the yontif that's cut. Do you mind telling it to make it a little cooler here? The lady in the front desk, thank you, I'm a little hot. Just to make it a little cooler, thank you. Thank you. Chag HaKotzir, to demonstrate that Chag Matan Torah is to be what? A chesed person. Who personifies that? Ruth. Okay. So, the Torah, it's called Chag HaKotzir. It's not called Chag Matan Torah. We have to understand why. Why it's not called Chag Matan Torah? Why does the Torah cover up the fact that Shavuos is also the day of what? Of giving the Torah? In Devarim 26, the Torah tells us that on Shavuos, you're supposed to bring your bikurim to the Beis HaMikdash. And the Medrash Rabbah says something amazing. The whole universe was only created for the mitzvah of bikurim. The 7 species that Israel is praised for. When do you bring those 7 species, Sarah? When? On Shavuos. So it's called Chag HaBikurim. And the Medrash tells us that the whole universe was created only for the mitzvah of bikurim. Why? Well, another way, the whole Torah was created, the world was created only for what? For Torah. When do you bring the Bikurim? On Chag Matan Torah. So therefore the universe was created for the mitzvah Bikurim. But why not say Chag Matan Torah? Why go like this when you can go like this? What is Bikurim? Says the great Rav Kook. Hakora Satov, when the farmer brings his fruits to the Beis Hamikdash on Shavuot, he's celebrating Eretz Yisrael. You know, this you should look inside for. This you got to look inside. Devarim 26. Devarim 26. Pasuk 9. When the farmer brings his first fruits to the Bet HaMikdash on Shavuos, in the art scroll it's 1069, and in the Birnbaum it's Devarim 26, Pasuk 9. Devarim 26, Pasuk 9. The farmer says, which one? 322 in the Birnbaum. Devarim 26, Pasuk 9. This is the mitzvah Bikurim, that the first fruits are brought when, Rachel? Chag Matan Torah. It's not played up enough. Everybody speaks about Chag Matan Torah, Shavuos Matan Torah. We forget that the Torah itself plays up, not the Matan Torah aspects there, but what? But dafke the agricultural aspect. Why is it swept under the rug? Look at the Devarim 26. This is taking place on Shavuos. Devarim 26, Pasuk 2. Pasuk 1. Devarim 26, 1, Sarah. You see that? When you come to the land of Israel, what Hashem gives you, and you live here, you shall take from the first fruits of the land, right? Devarim 26, the beginning. Put it in a basket. Come up to the Beis HaMikdash and sing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. Devarim 26, Pasuk 9. God, you brought me to this place, and you gave me this land, a land flowing with what? With milk and honey. And now I bring you the first fruits, and you shall rejoice in the fact that you don't live in Shmutz La'aretz. Shavuos is the mitzvah to rejoice that we are living in Eretz Yisrael. We have to be makeh toiv, that we live. Shavuos is Chag Matan Torah, but it's also Chag celebrating Eretz Yisrael. Who knows this? Good thing you came today. Huh? That's the great Rav Kook, the farmers who are not religious. He says they know this. The holy farmer. That Eretz Yisrael, that Chag Shavuot is Chag HaBikurim, and you're supposed to sing on Shavuos, you're supposed to sing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. And that's Hakora Satov. What does that mean? Expressing gratitude, appreciation that we don't live in Shmutz La'aretz anymore. So don't forget Shavuos. Not enough just to stay up all night and learn. Yeah. Celebrate the fact that we live where, Shelley? In Eretz Yisrael.
What a coincidence. Yom Yerushalayim was a week before.
No Kuminkidiki. Yom Yerushalayim was a week before. So you look at Deuteronomy 26. Do you have it there?
Yes, yes.
Pasuk 1 through 9. You read that.
Okay.
We're singing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. And when does the farmer do that? When, Avi? On Shavuot. So you see that the Torah was meant for what? For Eretz Yisrael. You can't have one without the other. The question is, why does the Torah, Abraham, only mention the Eretz Yisrael part and doesn't mention what? The Chag Matan Torah. That you have to go for the oral Torah. Stay tuned. Go ahead.
How could they bring it to the temple in one day? From traveling across it?
No, they have to start 2 weeks before. If you live in Haifa, Beersheba, there's no Egged bus. So you're on the camel.
Yeah.
So you have to start 2 weeks before, right? Unless you get a quick Sheirut, and you're in it, right?
Egged bus gets you anywhere in Israel.
The egghead bus, right? Or you take a fast camel. But you got to be here on Yom Tov Shavuos to bring your first fruits and sing the praises of Israel. Devarim 26, Pasuk 1 through 11. And look what it says in verse 11, Reb Nachum. V'samachta b'chol hatoiv. When you live in Israel, you have to be happy. Don't worry, be happy. V'samachta b'chol hatoiv, it says. In Eretz Yisrael, you have to be happy despite the tzarot. V'samachta b'chol hatoiv. You see? Pasuk 11, Devarim 26, Pasuk 11, when you sing the praises of God in verse 9, Yehuda. You have that? God, you brought me to this place, and you gave me this wonderful land flowing with milk and honey. When does the farmer make this speech? On Shavuos. Why do we forget that? Oh, we shouldn't. Now, how come it doesn't mention that it's also Chag Matan Torah? Why is there a great cover-up? It just mentions the Eretz Yisrael part, singing the praises of the land, which is a mitzvah to do on Shavuos. Let's not forget that. People concentrate on the Torah, great, but not to forget to sing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. Devarim 26, I'm a text man. Sarah, I'm a text man. So how come the Torah doesn't mention also Chag Matan Torah, like Chag HaMatzot? So the answer is as follows. The Torah calls it Chag HaMatzot, right? When do you eat matzah? On Pesach. They're meant to eat matzah today? No. So the Torah mentioned Chag Matan Torah. I would think, just like there's a mitzvah to eat matzah when? Only on Pesach. There's only a mitzvah to study Torah on Shavuos. The rest of the year I can go fishing. So not to make that mistake, the Torah has to cover up the Matan Torah part and focus on living in Israel part. That there's a mitzvah to study Torah every day. Unlike eating matzah, Chag HaMatzot, which is only what? Pesach, no mitzvah to eat matzah today. There's a mitzvah to study Torah every day. And if you would mention specifically Shavuos Torah Day, I would think there's no mitzvah to eat matzah today. Perhaps there's no mitzvah to study Torah today. I'll come back on Shavuos. So not to make that mistake, therefore the Torah covers up the Matan Torah and focuses on what? On the land, Chag HaKatzir, Bikurim. And not enough to bring the Bikurim, it's also to sing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. To sing the praises of Eretz Yisrael. To count our blessings that we live here. What's the secret to being happy? Count your blessings. Right? The grass is always green on the other side, right? Torah is teaching you, Samachta b'chol hatoiv. Samachta b'chol hatoiv, when you live in Israel. That's only in Eretz Yisrael. Wow. In Las Vegas, they think they're happy. No. They think they're happy. Samachta b'chol hatoiv. What? So let's remember this Shavuos, Rachel, to thank God for the mitzvah of living in Eretz Yisrael. It's a positive mitzvah in Devarim 26. I don't know why it's not emphasized enough. I don't know why.
In the Kibbutzim, they have a lot of stuff.
Okay, but what about in the yeshivas? In the yeshivas, they should emphasize, right, to celebrate and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the schus of living in the Holy Land.
So on Pesach, you got to bring a little lamb. On the Shavuos, you bring a little fruit.
Right.
What do you bring on Sukkot?
What do you bring on Sukkot?
Yes.
Sukkot, you bring the Eshpizin, right? You bring the Eshpizin on Sukkot, right? The guests, right?
The farmers depending, the land depending on rain.
Right. Now, let's go to, we have books, we might as well use them, as the good book says. This week's Parsha is Bamidbar 4. Bamidbar 4, Pasuk 21.
It's 727 is the starting of the blue book.
The blue book at 727, Bamidbar 4, 21. It's very easy, you could just look at the chapter on top of the page. Bamidbar 4, Pasuk 21, this week's Parsha is called Naso. Avi. Bamidbar 4, 21.
216 in the...
216 in the Birnbaum.
Is the start of it.
Now this parsha always falls out Shavuos time. Always. Now we know, Sarah, there are no coinky dinkies. What does nasoi mean? To get a high, lift up. The Torah gives us a spiritual high. Naso, lift up the heads of the Bnei Gershon, they too. Now we know that the end of a parsha and the beginning of a parsha must connect. How did Bamidbar end? It ended with the Kohatites, the Levites, Kohatites, who carried the Holy Ark on their shoulders. That's how Parshas Bamidbar ends. We know the end of a parsha must connect to the new parsha. Bamidbar ends with the Kohatites carrying the Holy Ark on their shoulders. What can be sweeter than that?
No wagon.
What could be sweeter than that, right? Parshas Nosai, Bamidbar 4:21, begins with the Gershonites. They were the truck drivers. In Yiddish you say a balagula. How do you say that in Yiddish? A balagula. They were the schleppers. They did the heavy lifting. They carried the heavy curtains and the boards of the Mishkan on the covered wagons. So you might think that what? They're not as important as the Kohatites, who carried what? The ark on their backs. The Bnei Kahos. Wow. Right? They carry the holy arks. So the Gershonites, they might think, I'm chopped liver. So the Torah says, Noso et Rosh B'nei Gershon Gam Heim. Even you think they're schleppers and truck drivers, they deserve the same kavod. Lift them up. Just as important as what? As the guy who carries the ark on his back. Very interesting. Noso. The Torah says respect every person, no matter what he does for a living. They too deserve naso. What does that mean? A lift. A lift. A praise and a lift. Naso literally means give them a lift. Even though they are the schleppers. We would say the truck drivers. Now, this parsha is the longest parsha in the Torah. It has 176 verses. And the longest chapter in Tilim also has 176 verses. Tilim 119 is the largest chapter in Tanakh, also has what? 176 verses. And the largest tractate in the Talmud, Bava Basra, also has what? 176 pages. Okay, so there are no coinky dinkies. Torah, Nevi'im, the oral and the written Torah, it's all connected. So again, this parsha is read always before Shavuos, that each and every Jew is important to God, is special and unique, even though he's a truck driver. There's an amazing story of Rav Aryeh Levine told his Jewish garbage collector, I envy you. So he says, Rebbe, you making fun of me? You're the biggest tzaddik in the world. I'm just a garbage collector. How could you envy me? He says, Chas v'shalom yid, I'm making fun of you. Can you imagine what Moshe Rabbeinu would give to be in your shoes?
Yeah.
Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have your schus to clean the streets of Jerusalem. He wasn't even allowed here. Rebbe Yid, I envy you. You have a schus that Moshe didn't have. You're the holy garbage collector. Moshe didn't have your schus. I envy you.
Well, why did he have to say, I envy you?
Because it's the truth. He doesn't. The Rebbe didn't clean the streets of Jerusalem.
He was here also.
Yeah, but he didn't clean the streets. Imagine having the schus to clean God's holy streets. That's a schus. We should appreciate that. Now, it says by Matan Torah, Vayichan Yisrael. Israel camped, even though there were millions of Jews there. Should have said Vayachnu. How come it says Vayichan? There were millions of Jews there, right? Sarah, you could figure out, the Chavetz Chaim says, let's do some figuring. There's 600,000 men between 20 and 60. What about all the men under 20, the men over 60, all the women and children? Chavetz Chaim figured there were millions, 5 million people there, approximately. So it should have said they camped there by the mountain. The Hakman says he camped there, Vayichan. So Rashi says, Ki ish echad belev echad. What does that mean, Sarah? Reunited, and it feels so good. They reunited to get the Torah. Because they didn't unite, they can never get the Torah. Because one person can never do all 613. It's impossible. Certain mitzvahs only men can do, certain mitzvahs only women can do, certain mitzvahs only Kahanim, only Levites. So if you didn't come together right now, we can never get the Torah. Because no one can do all 613. It's only when we unite as one, collectively can we do what? All 13. Therefore, there was a prerequisite. I like that word. Prerequisite, I sound like Elmer Fun. Right? Now, unity does not mean uniformity. Look at my 5 fingers. Sarah, how come God could have made them all the same length? He could have, but he didn't. Why not? To teach that it's all one hand, but each finger is different, because God doesn't want any clones. We have to be united, unity, but not uniformity. Everyone can do it my way. All fingers are different, but they all belong to what? One hand. Amazing how whatever that God created in the physical world is a message. He could have made all 5 fingers the same. He could have done that. But he didn't. To teach that what? That everyone is unique and special. Everyone is unique and special. And this you see by the Torah is so economical when it comes to words. Here the Torah repeats, incredible. It repeats 12 times the exact same thing. If you look in Bamidbar 7, Bamidbar 7, Bamidbar 7, Bamidbar 7, on and on. The Torah repeats each Nasi brought the exact same gift. It could have said, Nachshon, the first guy, brought X, Y, and Z, and the other 11, ditto, 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 ditto. Why do you have to spend so many pages? Look at Bamidbar 7, on and on, repeating each Nasi brought gifts to the Mishkan, but they all brought the exact same gift to the T. Why spend so many verses? The Torah is usually so economical on what? Words and letters. What's going on? And what's the message for Chag Matan Torah? Because this parsha is always read Chag Matan Torah, yes?
Because each of them had a different kavanah. So that, they're not exactly the same.
Beautiful, that's the idea. Says the great Nachmanides, to teach that each and every Jew is unique and special. And no one can do it my way. Da-da-da-da, Rav Nachum, even though it looks like we're all putting on the same tefillin, and we're all bringing the same gifts, but to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're unique and special. No one can do it my way. So it pays for God to write the account 12 identical times to teach that each and every Jew is unique and special. And the way I do a mitzvah is not the way even Moshe Rabbeinu can do a mitzvah. No one can do it my way.
This is to give great strength to the idea of self-worth. No matter if you're garbage man or not,
right?
You have just as much value as Moshe Rabbeinu.
And Rabban says that this is always read about Matan Torah, that each Jew has a part of Torah that is revealed only by him. No one else.
Didn't we just read that each person came before Moshe and Aaron, and there you know, and they were blessed, like one at a time.
Beautiful. That the parsha before, Sarah. That's right. Each one came to get a blessing, and Moshe and Aaron gave them their tafkid, which is contained in their name, and each person's tafkid is unique, just like God does not run out of fingerprints. Rivka, your fingerprints the same as mine? No. So just like God does not run out of fingerprints, He doesn't run out of tafkidim. It's amazing. Whatever you have in the physical world is just what? A reflection of the spiritual world. If my nose and my fingerprints are unique, that means my mission is unique. It's amazing how whatever you have in the physical world is a reminder of what? Of the spiritual world. Because we live in parallel worlds. Rav Yisrael Baruch, you know that. We need the friendly reminders. The 5 fingers, why they're not equal. We're all individuals, we're all unique, and we're also all special. Another reason why the Torah writes this account 12 times, says the great Nachmanides, if God would have written Nachshon ben Aminadav, the first guy, right? The B'yoyim Rishon, Nachshon, the whole list, and the other 11 guys would have gotten a ditto, they would feel bad. Who said that? Who said that? They'd feel bad, says the great Nachmanides. It pays for God to repeat the same account 12 times, that a Yid should not be slighted. What a message for Chag Matan Torah. Not to slight a Yid. What do I get, Shelley? A ditto? I get a ditto, and Nachshon gets the whole petek there. Not to upset a Yidel. God repeats the same thing 12 identical times. What a message. Not to upset a Yid. Powerful message for what? For Chag Matan Torah.
Rabbi Sprecher, is this the Sedra that in America it becomes the same as ours?
Yes, yeah, we're now the same, on the same
This is
page.
the Sedra that's read in America?
Yes,
This Shabbos too?
Shabbos, yes. They did a double last Saturday,
Oh, they
Shabbos.
did the double.
They doubled up.
Last Shabbos.
They doubled up to catch up. They're always behind. In Shmutz La'aretz, they're always behind.
This Shabbos is the same.
Right? They're behind, but Baruch Hashem, they're catching up. Right? Baruch Hashem.
Is it all one aliyah?
Is it what?
Is it all one aliyah?
Look and see, no, I don't think so.
No, it's not one aliyah.
It's broken up.
It's broken up. It's broken up. But anyway, this parsha is always read right before Chag Matan Torah. It's just amazing. This parsha, it's always read before Chag Matan, because everything is in here. Is there a way to take it with you? Is in here. Now, Jack Betty said, if I can't take it with me, I'm not going. But he went anyway. In this week's parsha, the Torah says there is a way to take it with you. Bamidbar 5, I'll wait. Bamidbar 5, verse 10. This is Kedai to look inside. Bamidbar 5, Shirley, it's easy. Look at the top of the page. It says Bamidbar 5, Pasuk 10.
The Art Scroll 753.
Art Scroll 753, Pasuk 10. In the Birnbaum, 218, Pasuk 10. Rabbi Abraham, you want to read that in English, see if they're right? Bamidbar 5, Pasuk 10. They have no numbers? Okay, you want to read it, Rivka, in English? There you have numbers there.
A man's holy shall be his,
A man's holy gift shall be his.
and what a man gives to the Kohen
What a man gives to the Kohen, Rabbi,
shall be Kohen, shall be his.
it sounds redundant to me. I'm mixed up. It says in Pasuk 10, a person who gives his holy gifts, right? They belong to him, and he gives them to the Kohen, they belong to him. Avi, I'm mixed up over here. I don't understand the verse. This says, Kedoshav lo yiyu, and a man whose holy gifts belong to him, Isha sheyitei leKohen, and the man who gives the holy gifts to the Kohen, lo yeh, it belongs to him. Well, if you give it to him, it belongs to him. Hello? Says Rashi. What does a person take with him to the next world? You know? You know, the Queen of England asked Rothschild how much money he has. The Queen of England asked Rothschild. He gave a sum. She said, come on. You got billions. That's all you have? You know what he said to her? You asked me what I have, not what the bank has. What's in the bank? That's not mine. After 120 years, they go to the lawyer's office to fight over it. You asked me what's mine. What's mine, what I gave for tzedakah, that's mine. You didn't ask, what's in the bank? That's not mine. I'm only using it. Until the kids start to fight over the Yerusha, you know. That's why Rabbi Beryl Wine says, take my advice and die poor. Rabbi Beryl Wine said that. I heard him say it more than once. Take my advice and die poor, because otherwise the siblings will have what to fight about. But anyway, the Torah is saying, what really belongs to you for eternity is what you give to the Kohen rabbi. What a puzzle. So there is a way to take it with you. Wow. That's what the Mayor Rothschild said to the Queen of England. Very interesting, right? What you take with you, your good deeds. That's what you take. Lo yeh, that's what you take along to Olam Haba, your tzedakah. And this idea is found in the book of Ruth. No coinky dinky, we read this parsha in Shavuot's time. In the book of Ruth, there's an amazing pasuk. In the book of Ruth. Who wrote the book of Ruth? Shmuel HaNavi. Okay, so I don't want you to miss pages. I'll just give you the chapter and verse. You get home, you can look it up. In the book of Ruth, okay, this idea is mentioned in the book of Ruth. I'll tell you where. And when you get home, you can look it up. Yeah. Okay. The book of Ruth. Yeah. So, Ruth comes back with the gleanings. She comes back with the gleanings. We find that verse over here. Chapter 2, yeah. In chapter 2, and yeah. It's chapter 2. It's in the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth, it is in chapter chapter 2. The book of Ruth, chapter 2. I don't have the same book as you have. Chapter 2 in the book of Ruth. Verse 19. Chapter 2, verse 19.
1271.
Chapter 2, verse 19. Ruth comes back with this bonanza of food. So chapter 2, verse 19, her mother-in-law says to her, where did you collect all of this? Where did you get all of this? May your benefactor be blessed. So she says to her mother-in-law, who did all of this chesed for you? So she answered her mother-in-law, the man that I did for him today, the name of the man that I did chesed for him today, his name is Boaz.
He's a redeemer.
Now, She said, girl, take a pill and lie down. You've been in the sun too long. I asked you, girl, who gave you all of this food? Who did this chesed for you? She said, the name of the man that I did chesed for him, his name is Boaz. The English doesn't translate it that. No, but the Hebrew, in chapter 2, pasuk 19, I'll read it, 2:19, Yehuda. Her mother-in-law said, Eifa lekadet hayom, where'd you collect all of this food today? V'anasit, yimakirech baruch, may your benefactor be blessed. V'taged lachamota, she said to her mother-in-law, Esha she'osta imo, the man that I did chesed for him. V'tomer, shemo ish, the name of the man, Asher Siti imo, that I did chesed for him, his name is what? So she probably thought she's been out in the sun too long. She didn't bring a hat. So the Medrash says, what was Ruth teaching? The food that Boaz gave her, it'll be eaten up in a few days. But the mitzvah that she gave him, that's for eternity. That's for eternity. That's what Ruth was teaching. He did a chesed for me, but that's temporary. The food runs out. But the mitzvah that I gave him to do tzedakah and chesed, that doesn't run out. That's on and on and on. So sometimes a person writes a check for a yeshiva, and he has like a look of constipation on his face. Sometimes. Give it with a smile, because the check will be used up, but the mitzvah that you get, that's yours forever. What a powerful lesson. What? Yes?
He gave her the food, which is the mitzvah also, is it not?
Oh, that's.
He gave the food is the mitzvah,
That's-
that's also.
I just said that. Thank you. I just said that. That's what she said. I gave him the mitzvah. I gave him. I did for him. I gave him the schus to do the mitzvah of chesed and tzedakah. That doesn't run out. The food will run out, but that merit he has forever.
She gave him the mitzvah when he gave her the food. Heck did she do that?
Well, that's the point.
By taking it. Hello. By accepting the tzedakah, you get the mitzvah. So the check will run out, but the mitzvah doesn't run out. That's on and on. Who taught that lesson? Ruth.
Rabbi Sprecher,
Yes, sir.
this happened to me many years ago.
Go ahead.
I don't know whether you've heard of Mayor Birnbaum.
Yeah, Lieutenant Birnbaum.
Mayor Birnbaum.
The lieutenant, yes.
Winter evening, I came to visit him because he was a Bachutin of good friends of mine.
Right.
It was a cold day,
Right.
cold evening, wet evening, and his wife gave me a nice hot bowl of vegetable soup.
Okay.
So when I left, I said, thank you very much for the soup. So he said to me, no, I should thank you because you gave me the mitzvah of Hachnasat Orchim.
Wow. That's a level. A root level. The message of Ruth is to be root, not ruthless. That's a beautiful story. I should thank you for giving me this chus. So you give tzedakah, you should smile. And it's actually a mitzvah in this week's parasha. Again, I'm a text man. Go to Bamidbar. Bamidbar 6, pasuk 25. Bamidbar 6, pasuk 25. This is the priestly blessings that the priest, the Kohanim, bless us every morning. Bamidbar 6, pasuk 25. Yoash
764.
764, verse 25. 764, verse 25. And the Birnbaum, Bamidbar 6, 25. Yorashem ponav alecha v'chineka. May God shine his face on you and be gracious to you. Says Rashi, may God shine his face on you. Says Rashi, Yer lecha panim sachakot. God shows you a happy, smiley face. Put on a happy face. Bamidbar 6, Pasuk 25, the way Rashi explains it, God smiles on us. God shows us panim sachakot. What does panim sachakot mean? A happy face. Shirley, remember that song? Put on a happy face. My great Rebbe Rapam, Zecher Tzaddik Avracha, said, every time you smile on a person, you're walking in God's ways. V'halachta b'drachav. Deuteronomy 28 says we have to walk in God's ways. So if God smiles on us, and if we smile on another human being, we are what? Imitating God. Doesn't cost any money to smile. But some people are like constipated. It doesn't cost any money though. It's free. It doesn't cost any money.
That's right.
Now, this idea is actually found in Parshas Vayechi. This idea, how important it is to smile on a fellow Jew. Come on, smile on your brother now. Who sang that? They got everything from us. Smile on your brother now. Let's get together. Smile on your brother now. This week's Parsha. I think it's the Youngbloods. I'm dating myself. Smile on your brother now and put on a happy face. This idea is actually found in Parshas Vayechi. On Parshas Vayechi, it's incredible. On Yaakov, on his deathbed, blesses his children. In Parshas Vayechi, that's the book of Bereshis, strange bracha he gives Yehuda. Very strange bracha. Parshas Vayechi, that's in Bereshis 49. Rewind the tape, Ray. Rewind the tape. Bereshis 49. Bereshis 49, Pasuk 10. He's speaking to Yehuda, and he says that the Mashiach will come from Shiloh. Who is Shiloh? The Mashiach. Shiloh, right? At Kiyova Shiloh. Rashi said Shiloh is the name of the Mashiach. That the
279 in the answer.
279 Pasuk 10. So Yaakov is prophesizing, but Bereshis 49 Pasuk 10, that the Mashiach comes from Yehuda. That's Bereshis 49 Pasuk 10. In Pasuk 12, he says something very strange. About, you want to read that in English? Bereshis 49:12. Eyes more sparkling than wine, and teeth whiter than milk. Now, Yehuda's not going to be a dentist. It sounds like a dentist commercial. Eyes more sparkling than wine. That's the way it says in Hebrew. Bereshis 49:12. Eyes more sparkling than wine, and teeth whiter than milk. Is Yehuda going to be a dentist? Is it a commercial for Colgate toothpaste, Sarah? Says my great Rebbe Rapam, Zecher Tzaddik Avracha. You want to bring your Mashiach? When you see a fellow Jew, let your eyes sparkle. Show him a toothy smile. That's the way to bring Mashiach. Reb Nachman, paid to come from America to hear this. I think it paid to come. It's not a toothpaste commercial. You hear my great Rebbe Rapam? Yes, you want to bring the Mashiach in Pasuk 10. Then when you see a fellow Yid, your eyes should sparkle. Give him a smile whiter than what? And the Gemara in Ksubah says something amazing on this pasuk. Gemara in Ksubot, page 110, Yehuda. When you smile on a fellow Jew, it's better than buying him a milkshake. I love milkshakes. But when someone smiles on me, I feel better. Because the milkshake will be gone. It takes me a half a minute to drink a milkshake. But the smile that I get from a person, that stays with me all day. Milkshake, maybe a minute. I drink it fast. Gemara in Ksubas, page 110. Uben shinayi mechalav. When you smile on someone, it's better than buying him a milkshake. And that's the way to bring the Mashiach, said Rav Pam. Otherwise, the psukim are not... That's pretty amazing.
A smile is kind of like an emotional milkshake.
An emotional milkshake, right? And there's no cholesterol. And there are no calories, right? You know, a problem with the diabetes, right? A spiritual, I like that, a spiritual milkshake, I like it. Used to love those Carvel milkshakes. They went out of business. They were here on King George Street, Carvel.
Really?
Yes. They went out of business about 10 years ago. I don't know why. I guess people didn't buy enough milkshakes. They were on King George next to Bank of Pauline. They went out of business. I don't know. Carvel. 10 years. Here they're out of business. They were kosher. Sure they were kosher. Yes. So we're getting ready for Kabbalah Torah. You're invited to come here Shabbos afternoon at 5 o'clock. We have a great shiur here. And then Shabbos night at 1 a.m. That's prime time.
That's right.
I was speaking about the odd couple. The odd couple. The grandparents of the Messiah. Weren't they an odd couple?
Yes.
He was an old man, and she was a young a spring chicken. There was an odd couple there. And then the Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we're speaking again about may Ruth say Kaddish for her non-Jewish parents. So 515. 515. You're welcome to come, no charge.
That's here at the OU, right?
Right here at the OU, Shabbos afternoon at 5, Saturday night 1 a.m., and Sunday afternoon, Yom Tov, at 5 p.m. Have a wonderful Chag Sameach. Enjoy your cheesecake.